All right. Good evening, Black Blockchain Consultant. Cherie here, the founder of the group. Want to thank you so much for being here with our special guest today. So one of the things we're doing is definitely putting out more daily content for you. You know that we always come to you with great guests to talk about the trends that are happening in blockchain, how people are making money in blockchain, whether they're doing it or just things that they're observing. And Ali, as I call her, she introduced herself to me that way. Ali is one of the best in the world with regards to giving us a lot of information. She belongs to a lot of groups. She networks a lot. If you live in the DC area and you haven't met her, you're missing out. So definitely connect with her on LinkedIn is the better place to connect with you. And we'll talk about some other Telegram groups you're in as well. But she'll put you on a list and she'll invite you to everything that's happening in the DC area. I wanted to talk to Ali for a couple of different reasons and invite everyone else to hear the conversation. First of all, she is the co-founder of the Black Women Blockchain Council Group. Their mission is to create a safe space that inspires, trains, and activates a talent and economic pipeline of Black women pursuing professional and entrepreneurial careers in blockchain and fintech, including inspiring and educating the next generation of K-12 and college university students to be blockchain leaders. Second thing that she's doing, she's very busy. She's also the community manager for Women in Blockchain International, which has over 400 members, women who are contributing to blockchain development in Asia, Canada, UK, EU, the Americas, and Russia. Third thing I know she's doing is she created this blockchain platform called Plus2, which is for introverts. So we want to talk about all of that. And she's a cybersecurity expert by day. So, and a mom as well. So she's got a lot of jobs. We're going to definitely talk about all of them. Welcome to Black Blockchain Consultants officially.
Thank you very much, Cherie. I'm glad to be here with you guys, and I look forward to the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off from the beginning. You were a little girl or a young adult. How did you get started? Did you get started in technology? Was it some winding road? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh. My path has definitely been a winding road. Sometimes there's a disjointed disconnection going on, but eventually there's a rhyme to my reason. Mm-hmm. I started when I was a little girl. I actually wanted to be a doctor. I did a few internships in a lab at NIH since I live in the DC area and I happen to be close to NIH. I was there and I was the nerd. I was the science nerd and that's where I was going to go. Got into college based on that. Second semester, junior year, I decided that I can't take it. No more chemistry lab for me. It's weird because the way they position the science lab is like on the path to like the business school. Mm-hmm. And so you see everyone dressed in their Armani suits and they're looking nice and you're coming home 6 p.m. smelling like chemicals in your stained out, lab coat. And you're looking at these people and you're like, this cannot be my life. So eventually, second semester, junior year, I changed everything. And luckily for me, I had enough electives to actually get my credits in English. So I was able to complete that and leave school with not too much additional credits that I needed to obtain. First job out of college was actually in the financial industry. And I realized that this was something that I actually like. But unfortunately, I wasn't a salesperson. I'm more of, because of my introverted, perspective, I'm more of an individual that likes to build connections as opposed to sell people things. So I realized that wasn't good for me. I did end up long winding road in compliance, and compliance was an area that I actually really like, and I've been in compliance for over 15 years now for a financial firm. And it was actually 2 or 3 years ago when the SEC started making recommendations towards the fact that the chief compliance officer need to have an understanding of cybersecurity. And so I'm always a techie person, but never really fine-tuned that area of mine. So this was an opportunity for me to go back to school after telling myself for 15 years that I would never go back to school. I found something that I was passionate about. So cybersecurity took me back to school. I wanted to be able to talk with IT and understand what they're talking about, as well as assist them in developing the correct policies and procedures to safeguard the firm. So I did go back to school. I got my master's in cybersecurity policy and management from University of Maryland University College. And from there, I started providing information assurance through a lot of the blockchain community. I've been to a lot of conferences. I was introduced to blockchain by a guy named Samson Williams. And I actually—
You know Samson.
Yes, Samson. I think if people don't know Samson, they're like, there's a disservice going on in your life right now, because you need to connect with Samson. Samson is a wealth of knowledge, and he's like really funny as well. I connected with Samson because of Plus Two. And at the time, it was a startup. It's still a startup phase, but it was something that I was passionate about and I wanted to do, because I felt like as an introvert, I didn't really want to use these dating or social media platforms out there, because I think it's geared towards extroverts, because, you know, they tell you expand your net and then narrow it down. And so as an introvert, I didn't want to kiss a lot of frogs or going, you know, through a lot of dates. What I wanted to do was actually connect with someone that we shared a basic interest, and hopefully that will lead into friendship, companion, whatever it may lead to. So I decided to build Plus Two based off of that. So Plus Two is connecting people based on common interests, and it's specifically catered to introverts. We're in the process of trying to use the blockchain technology in making sure that introverts are continuing to interact with the platform. So the introverts will bring on the reward-based systems, as well as the incentives to get introverts continue to use the platform and interact with other introverts.
So please don't tell me you're creating the Tinder for blockchain.
Perhaps I will take the tender money. How about that?
As you're talking, I'm like, wait a second.
It's funny because as a Black woman and as a Black person, we tend to take our time with our projects, and only because we want to be involved and we don't have the monetary resources that's often utilized when you're anything but, you know, us. So it's been a slow project, and I'm sure a lot of people have not heard about it. But at the same time, I've been shy about promoting it as well. I don't know why.
Because you're an introvert, yes.
Because I'm an introvert, yes, exactly. So I've been shy about promoting it, and I do have an MVP, which is weird because I just realized, you know, I've created this platform. It's sitting out there, and it should be utilized or tested, but I haven't really done too much with it because, you know, it's my baby. I want to cradle it. I want to make it perfect. But I think
there's no such thing as perfect.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to just get out there and do it and make the mistakes and the corrections as you go. Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to log into www.plus2.com, and log in as a guest, and the password for the guest is TWO. So you can start using the platform, introduce other people to it, and if you need additional information, just reach out to Cherie, and she will definitely, you know, get you in touch with me. And I will provide you more information about that. So there, I put it out there.
Perfect. You know, I'm preparing for a class on Thursday night, our how to build a six-figure consulting business class. And that was one of the things that came up as I was doing my lesson plan and preparing is sometimes you gotta partner. If you are a very introverted person or you don't like sales or, you know, whatever, sales still have to be done in your organization. So at that point, you need to partner up. Or if you're a very gregarious person, but you don't do details, then you need to partner up. And I've noticed that a lot of great businesses do have this yin and yang, you know, with co-founders or whatever, where you got the person that's getting stuff done and the other person that's out pushing, you know. So it's interesting that you're talking in regards to plus two. So I would encourage anyone, if they want to join Ollie's team, I'm sure she'll interview you, whatever, but there are some people here that are looking for projects to be a part of. So, you know, who knows?
Yes, definitely. Come and join me. I need people.
Yes. So, yeah, because not everybody can think of a blockchain project, but some people are really great that once the project is created, they know how to take it and run with it and make it, you know, into something. So, so I'm always telling people to find a niche, you know, get in where you fit in, whatever the term or saying you want to use, do that, because there's something for everybody in blockchain.
This is true. This is so true.
Yeah. So I'm going to just do some rapid fire questions for you in regards to just some overall things that are happening in blockchain. So first of all, price of Bitcoin. What do you think?
I think it's adjusting itself right now. I think last year was ridiculous. But just like the stock market, everything that goes up must come down and it has to adjust itself. And being that I've been in the financial industry, I'm not panicking because, you know, I mean, if you've been investing in stocks, you know, this is one of the roller coasters that you go through. But I do understand that some people who bought really high are fearful that they're going to lose all their money. But if you look at the historical charting of Bitcoin, you'll see that it's gone through this before. And even the stock market, if you look back at the history of the stock market, when it first started, it had a major crash. And people really thought that this was the end of it.
Right.
So, but however, here we are, you know, with the market still fluctuating, but it's way above what it used to be. So I don't want to give advice.
Of course not. We're not financial experts here. So we'll say that.
But I honestly think that it's doing what it's supposed to do. And for those people who are diehard believers of this, they will stay on. I do know that financial industries are involved in it. I do know that it was a wake-up call to a lot of people, including the government. So I don't foresee Bitcoin going down to zero anytime soon. I do know outside of the US that there's a lot of countries that are relying on it. And it's very important. So where it ends up, it depends on when you invested. If you invested earlier on, then you really don't care. If you invested around November of last year, then you're panicking, which is understandable. But however, it's just a cycle right now, and eventually it will, fix itself.
Yeah. I heard somebody say on a webinar that they think Bitcoin is going to go down to $1,000. And I thought, gee, if Bitcoin went to $1,000, would I buy one and just put it in my Trezor, in my safe, and just hold on to it? And part of me is like, that would be very tempting. I don't know. Like when it got there, I might say, I think I'll keep my cash.
I know, right?
But right now, it's like, when he said that, I thought,
if 500, right?
Now 500, I definitely would, because I would probably forget the 500. But 1,000, then now, we're starting to get to money that I would remember. But it would be cool to own a whole Bitcoin.
Yes, it would. It definitely would.
So next trend is in regards to some of the hacking. Since you're a cyber expert, some of the hacking within blockchain, and of course we know it's not blockchain itself that's been hacked, it's the information going to and from the system. What are some of your thoughts with regards to that? Do you think it's going to scare the mainstream off, or is it more of an opportunity for us?
In regards to hacking, one thing that people have to understand is anything can be hacked that's on the internet, period. So it's not just the blockchain that has this vulnerability. The government has the vulnerability. Your banks have the vulnerability. Even healthcare has the vulnerability. So this is not a new phenomenon. It's it's just, and the number one threat to the number one, how do I want to say this? The number one ways that cyber breach occurs is through human error. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if you're clicking on the wrong links without actually taking the time to verify that this is an accurate link to, let's say if you wanted to go to Amazon, because it's funny because an actual expert, cybersecurity expert, felt susceptible to an email that was sent to him through Amazon, and he happened to click on the link without even thinking. Sometimes we do things in a rush, and he just wanted to get out of there, so he clicked on it. And as soon as he clicked on it, he knew they got him. And honestly, they did. But it's not taking the time to look at those characters, taking the time to look at the email address or the link address. One thing that I do is I right click, and if there's no correlation between Amazon.com and I'm seeing Amazon3.com, there's an issue there. I am not clicking that. Like, I always stop to make sure that I'm clicking the right link. In addition, sometimes you don't want to click the link. You want to copy and paste it and do a Google search to make sure it's leading you to the right place. So just taking the time to trust but verify can lead to a lot of the security measures to secure your assets, So for blockchain, like you mentioned, it's not the actual technology. It's really the things that we as humans do, that leads to the cyber security hacks. One of the things that we do is, we mistaking our private key for our public key. And so we're giving away the wrong keys. It's if you imagine the keys as, one of them is your house key, the other one is your address. Of course, you could give your address, to the people that you want to know your address. There's no real issue there. But however, if you give your house key to someone, guess what? They're breaking your house, So you just have to understand that some of the things that you do can lead to you being vulnerable anywhere, not necessarily within blockchain, but anywhere, And it's just taking that precaution and going the extra mile and being aware of your surroundings and the type of information that you give up as well.
Right. I like that. I'm going to creatively borrow that house key versus address.
It's not mine, it's Samson's.
Okay, he didn't tell us that at the conference, so we're going to be creatively borrowing it from him. Okay, another current topic is this trend of blockchain companies changing their name from blockchain to DLT. Now, we all know it's the same thing.
Yes.
But I guess the stigma of the term blockchain, what's your thoughts in regards to that? Are people correct in thinking that blockchain can never go mainstream with the term blockchain? That's why these companies are changing it to DLT. What's your thoughts just overall about that?
It's interesting because I kind of understand them on one hand, and then on the other hand, I think it's ridiculous. But the reason why I understand them is because if you think about it, blockchain has been synonymous with Bitcoin, and not a lot of companies want to be associated with Bitcoin. So therefore, it's better to move away and rephrase the actual name of the technology. And at the same time, DLT is the actual name of the technology. Blockchain just happens to be mainstream. So, it's a good and bad thing, but I do understand them on one hand, and then on the other hand, kind of think it's ridiculous, but understand the reasons why.
Interesting. I kind of am liking it to, do you call it Kleenex or tissue?
Exactly.
If they wanted to convert it back to tissue, but we still call it Kleenex. So, we'll see. So let's talk a little bit about the trends that are happening within blockchain in terms of consulting, jobs, money-making opportunities. We're Black. You are, working with women mostly, but I'm sure, the guys on here can learn something as well. A lot of people in our group are choosing a niche, or I call it a major. So my whole thing is freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year of high school. Freshman year, many of us have taken the Blockchain 101 class. Sophomore year, we're learning a little bit more about tokenization of assets, smart contracts, just overall. And a lot of us are picking a junior and senior year or a major. And, I'm encouraging people to think about where the money is today based on their skills and what they can do, and then where the money is going to be, a few years from now or several years from now. If you were to give, the group advice, what would you advise them on in terms of starting their blockchain consulting businesses or getting a blockchain job, either one?
Okay. I would tell them that no one here is an expert in blockchain. That what we're experts in is our natural knowledge of, our business line, the experience that we've had within whatever industry that you're in, and what kind of background that you're bringing. If you're in healthcare, blockchain is really great for healthcare. So I would try to narrow it down to your niche and see how you can apply the technology to the niche, because every industry right now is talking about it, and every industry has an innovation hub that they're trying to create something for their company. A lot of it is private blockchain, so there's a need there. And I think as consultants, there's a need for you to go out there and basically build up your experience and your knowledge base in the technology and utilize how how it could apply to your particular industry. For instance, for me, I'm not really reinventing the wheel here. I'm not a developer. I don't consider myself, I'm learning to code, but I don't consider myself to be a coder as well. But blockchain on the technical level is not something that is my strong suit. However, I do know that on a cybersecurity level, there's certain things that are really important that you can safeguard. And for instance, and as well as my financial industry level, I know that there's things that my current company can do in order to build up their service. But then you also have to understand that blockchain, the technology itself, is based on a trustless society. And so when you go into it like that, you're looking at, from interactions between point A and point B, and there's no middleman. So how are you going to fit into that? I think right now there needs to be the knowledge base for the technology and how it applies to every industry is important. So as consultants, it's, coming in with that knowledge base, coming in with how you understand it and how you can basically instruct others so that they could understand it. Because right now CEOs, they know it's the buzzword, everybody is talking about it, but no one really knows how on the ground level it could be applied to their industry. So if you could go in as consultant and be like, hey, we can use blockchain to secure patient information, and this is how we can do it. Or, I've seen us do it this way. Perhaps you can use blockchain to do it this way. And then people will start to listen and say, what do you mean? What exactly can blockchain do? Well, blockchain can, it's immutable. So, people can go in and put their information and know that it's accurate, that it can never be, changed or manipulated. So therefore, those are the added benefits. And then when it comes to the technical aspect, I'm sure some of the consultants are technical developers as well. So you could reach back to your network and say, hey, I have people that can come in and introduce the technical aspect to it and help you build it from that on. So every area is very important in this technology. I honestly, the way that I see it is like a fresh start for all of us, but not entirely new. It's just a way for us to step in with our background and utilize our background to build up the industry.
Right. So, this is going to be a $3.1 trillion industry, estimates say. Some people say more. Haven't really seen fewer people saying less. It's 3.1 trillion on up. how do we as Black people make sure that we are not left behind in terms of this wealth transfer? I'm a big proponent of ownership. We've got to own some things. We did not really own a lot in Internet 1.0 or 2.0. What things should we be looking at now saying, you know what? This is something that we can own so that we can have some of the wealth transfer that's going to be going to Asia and to Europe and to certain people in America. You know, I guess I'm just interested in hearing your thoughts about that.
I think right now, the money is out there and the networks are already being done. And we're trying to create a momentum within our industry to increase the amount of people who know about blockchain and how they can apply it. It's still a hard barrier to penetrate because it's still part of the technology industry. And for the longest time, technology, their favorite line is to say that there are no Black people in technology, which was false then and continues to be false, because I've met a lot of people in technology, engineers from, IT all the way, to builders, So we're out there. I just think we need to continue to shout. We need to continue to want to sit at the table and never be quiet. We need to continue to promote each other because there's strength in numbers, seriously. And knowing that if you're a consultant and you're going through this process with a host of other Black consultants, get their names, bring their names up, in your organization. If you know someone that's a blockchain developer and they're a Black person, bring them in. I mean, that's how Indians do it, that's how Asians do it. Let us start building a community where we demand to see our own self. And if you have a blockchain project, do not have your seat be full of people who are not looking like you. It's important to sit at that table and see other people who have you, because at the end of the day, they'll be the one to have your back. They'll be the one to let you know, hey, the board is thinking about removing you or doing something, you need to be on the up and up, So it's important to surround yourself with, those that you trust and those that look like you, because it's very important. And, there's different blockchain projects out there. There's Guap Coin that's, interested in putting resources back into the community. We always talk about how we want the money to circulate within the community, but honestly, we don't do enough to make that happen. So this is another way for us to try to make that happen. Money, our GDP alone, the Black, GDP, there's strength in that, but we don't utilize that. If we all decided that we're not going to go to the grocery store today, hello, there's strength in that, But, I've heard in the community how, certain people want to boycott certain things, and then there's always those people who are naysayers. There's always going to be naysayers, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the strength. The strength is out there, because eventually those naysayers will come around, So it's important for us to always look back, pull each other up. It's important for us to, not be afraid to network within our own community and, bring each other, into certain projects and stuff, or demand people to have people in projects. I mean, because our strength is in numbers, if you're into Nike, demand that Nike has board members that look like you. It's a lot of things that we should be doing. We should be utilizing our voice to do, but we don't do.
Yeah, I personally don't believe we have to save everybody. I think I've said this a few times, if 100,000 of us got together, we put $100 into a pot, that's $10 million. That's enough to fund a blockchain project that would hire us, And then you do that 12 times a year. I know personally, I know some people can't afford the $100 a month. Personally, I probably would forget, that I even put it into a project until I started getting my dividends. But, like I personally think that's not an unachievable task, So All right, so I'm going to encourage everybody to start putting your questions in Q&A. Talisha had a question for you, Ali. She asked, your website address, is it plus TWO or is it plus two, the number, or how do you spell it?
PLUSTOU.com.
TOU.com. So Talisha, if you can place that in the chat for everybody, please. And then if you have additional questions, anybody who's on tonight, please put it in the Q&A for me. And while you are doing that, Ali, let's talk about your women. Oh, I'm sorry. I have it here on my screen here. Women. Black Women Blockchain Council.
Yes.
Is that a physical group? Is that virtual? What are you guys doing? If people want to get involved, how do they do that?
We currently are in the process of building our board members. It's a benefits LLC. So we're trying to create a lot of the different charities and foundation, as well as have ways to make money also for the group. Right now, it's in the beginning phases, trying to put together the board members. So if you're interested in being part of the board, please let me know. In addition, the next year we'll start creating or partnering with a few organizations around the globe to try to provide training programs for Black females, Black girls, in relating to blockchain and also relating to cybersecurity, because I think that's very important for all of us to know. And then we will partner up with others to also do events around the globe as well. So, and then, if there's a Black woman that's interested in connecting and learning about blockchain, they could always reach out to us. So our website is www.bwbc.io.
Okay. So if anybody is interested in participating in the Black Women Blockchain Council, either as a potential board member or someone who's assisting or someone who's doing youth training, definitely reach out to Ali. Now, let's talk about the Women in Blockchain International group. What's happening there?
So the group has actually grown. They're close to 600 or over 600 now. And this is a group of all women internationally. It's not just Black women, it's Asian women, it's white women, it's Spanish women, etc. So we've all came together, and it actually built, the strength came in the fact that there was earlier this year, there was a Miami blockchain convention that had advertised as one of the best convention out there. However, it had a disproportionate number of speakers who were male. So it was 95 to like 5% female. And on top of that, you guys probably heard about this, their after party was at a strip club.
Oh, goodness.
They didn't really care about their female attendees nor their speakers. So, it was more catered to the guys. And so a lot of females were upset, with the fact that, it was disrespectful to have an after party at a strip club when you do have some females attendees as well. And at the same time, they didn't really do an outreach to include a lot of female speakers in their panel. It was a whole week, I believe, and it was a crazy number of male panelists, but it was just a small amount of female. And so a lot of women got together and decided to create the Women in Blockchain Telegram group. And it's grown since then. I was part of it when it was around 200. It's now around 600. And it's a networking group, actually. A lot of women are basically starting their own project and looking for people to partner up with them, or looking for developers, or, even content managers. So they're looking for anything within, the blockchain job function to assist. And it's a great group for people to network, get to know other people, also get to know what's going on, what kind of projects are going on a global level. because sometimes when we think about blockchain, we only think about in the US. But we have to understand that this is a global phenomenon. And you can't really think about blockchain without thinking the fact that this is more than just the US. This is something that you can basically go to any country within the world and hear about it, you know? So there's a lot of conventions that are going on worldwide. I got the opportunity to travel to a few of those conventions in the Caribbean as well. So it's been great. It's been a way for people to network. And if people are looking to, you know, join it, I suggest that you do and connect with people and ask questions, because there's a wealth of knowledge in that group.
Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely reach out to me if you're interested in joining, and feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, so Anita's asking the name of the group. It's a Telegram group. It's called Women in Blockchain International.
Yeah.
Women in Blockchain International.
Yeah.
So you can
and if you're interested, let me know, connect with me, and I will provide you with the link.
Alrighty then, final question. Your blockchain plans for 2019.
Well, I've been thinking a lot about that. It's funny enough because I feel like 2018 was like the foundation that I'm laying, because I did a lot this year. And so I'm looking for the foundation to, you know, build up and come into a fruition of something wonderful. So my hopes are high. I'm going to do a lot more speaking engagements. I'm hoping to basically launch by the end of 2019, +2 for the world. No more being shy or keeping it on. I do have a few business consulting ideas that I want to do more along the lines of cybersecurity. And then I'm partnering with a few people. There might be a podcast in the mix for cybersecurity related. And because I have a 9-year-old child, it's going to be catered to kids and how parents can have that talk with their kids, because, you know, we talk about stranger danger. And but on being on the web, it's even a greater vulnerability for people, but people don't really have that discussion with their kids, and I think it's important. So the podcast is definitely something that we're working on, adding more to my list.
I mean, I just had the great idea. You should call it Cyber Danger, and you should like save that domain like now.
Now, I know, right?
I probably should have sent it to you by email. I shouldn't have put it out here. But
out there, it's probably gone by the time I get off.
Oh goodness! But no, well, so you know, and it could be you, and it could be somebody who's a dad, you know, who's looking at it from perspective of protecting his kids. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think that parents are always looking for information in terms of you know, protecting their kids as well as making sure that they excel. So, so I think you have the best of both worlds. Well, if anybody is not a member of Black Blockchain Consultants, I do want to invite you to be a part of our inner circle. We have a internal communication group with a lot of information happening in there, as well as in 2019, we have a lot of webinars and courses that are coming out that will help you with your blockchain career or your blockchain consulting business. So you can reach out to me at info@blackblockchainconsultants.com. Ali, any final words before we go tonight?
I just want to say thank you very much for inviting me here. And, you know, the future has a lot of possibilities. I strongly feel that, you know, the Black community needs to be involved in blockchain. And what you guys are doing is great. It's definitely something that's needed. And this is, you know, a great step towards building our community and making sure that we stay prominent within this technology.
Absolutely. Well, you're definitely an honorary member of BBC. So somebody else is asking if there's any other way to contact you other than LinkedIn.
Yes, I do have a Twitter profile. It's called, what is it? You can find me at Olayinka, Olayinka, On Twitter, it's a +2 CEO, capital CEO, and that's my Twitter handler.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for being on with us this evening. The replay will be available tomorrow. And Ali, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy Kwanzaa. And thank you, everybody. I will see you in the next couple of days.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy Kwanzaa to you, too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.